Hey guys, what's up? It's Tees here, coming at you with another Tips with Tees in College Football 25. Today I want to go over practice mode and why it is the best and most effective way to get you better at College Football 25. I'm going to give you the 5 best reasons as to why it is so. But before we jump into the video, if you could please leave a like. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you don't miss another Tips with Tees in College Football 25. Number 1 is simple. Practice the same play over and over to get better at running the same play over and over to get better effectiveness. For example, I will show you right here. Obviously, I'm running a jet sweep. Now, again, number one is going to be practicing the same play over and over and over again, building that repetition, getting comfortable with the physics of the game if you're not used to playing it that much, getting used to finding certain holes, what cutback lanes are good, especially when it comes to doing the jet sweep. This is just one of the examples as to why I like doing this, because when you go up against the defense, you can select which, level you're going up against, whether it's going to be Heisman, All-American, and below. So you want to keep that in mind because that makes it a little bit easier, especially when you're going in your online dynasties and you're playing against other players or just the CPU. If you're going up against the CPU that's Heisman, you can set it to Heisman. If your gameplay is All-American, well, then you can set it to All-American and figure out how the CPU plays when you play the CPU, as well as when you play players and what to expect when you're going up against other users. And again, this is just one example here. I really like this over playing the game and practicing this because you're not able to reset after the play over and over and over. This just builds repetition and muscle memory. So again, the main thing for me here is just trying to figure out, okay, well, there's a nice little cutback lane there, juke move, and can I take it to the house on the first play? That'd be pretty cool. I can't, all the way down to the 1 yard line. But I've selected a random play for the defense. So now they're going up against a different defense. Notice there is no player on the right side like there was on the last play. So they're going to be playing a random defensive play, should I say, every single time. So this is going to be ran up against multiple different defenses. So I'm going to get a good idea as to what to expect here when I'm running up against different defenses, different looks, and things like that. And it's going to make me comfortable. Obviously, right now, it looks like the cornerback on the right side, he's going to be blitzing. So let's see how that affects this play right here. Okay, well, I got to cut back sooner, and I cut back maybe a little bit too soon there, but now I might know, hey, okay, if they're coming down, you want to be careful, maybe even, audible out of this play, because it definitely makes it more tough to gain yards, or at least have a breakaway play like we had before. Compared to this formation here, this looks more like a zone kind of a defense right here, and so I should have an opening to the right side here. If I could just get to the outside, get a nice little block there, get a great block there, that's huge, and I'm gone for a nice little touchdown. So that's one of the examples right there that I recommend doing. Obviously, is doing this over and over and over again. Well, we're still on number 1. Now we're going to go on the passing side of things. Now, if you're not comfortable with making progressions, which I know for sure I was definitely not. I was a one-read guy when I got this game. I just kept my eyes on him no matter what, and if he wasn't open, I would hold it too long, and I ended up getting sacked, fumble the ball, all the bad things. So you definitely want to work on your progressions. This is a great place to do that as well, because now you're able to do it, and if it's kind of like going to the driving range in golf, like you hit a bad shot, it's okay. Tee up another one, hit another one. There's not too much negative things that can happen because it's practice. You get to do it over and over again to build confidence and build more things that you're more comfortable with. And that's why I recommend this as well for practice mode, because you can build confidence with your progressions. I always recommend, like you've seen in many of my videos, always want to have a plan on offense, especially when you're passing the ball. You want to have a few receivers that you're going to be going to, where you're going to be looking, and that is what you want to do here. For example, what I always do here, I start off with A as my first read, then I go to B. No, I go from A to RB to B, usually, sometimes Y, depending on the coverage and what I'm looking at. Again, I'm going up against a random play defense, so I don't even know what it is, and they're going to keep changing it every single play, so I'm going to have a different look, and that'll change the reads. So that's something that you have to do. Create the pre-snap, muscle memory, should I say, that routine that, hey, I am going to do this. I am going to do this every single time. I'm going to try to distinguish what the coverage is. Right here, it kind of looks like a little bit of a zone. At the same time, it looks like man. When I said zone, definitely take that away. It definitely looks like man to me, because every single one of the defenders is right over their players. So I'm going to assume that's man coverage. And if it's man coverage, then B is probably going to be open down the field if I can get enough time to throw the ball. But at the same time, if you look at the defensive line, they're all shifted to the left side. And it looks like, let's see, the blockers, they aren't picking them up to where I would like them. I would like the line to shift a little bit this way because I'm not expecting that linebacker on the right side to really break towards me, to be honest, even though he is unaccounted for right now. So again, if this is man coverage, I'm going to see that A, he might be open on the out route, but I'm going to look for B down the field. So I'm going to go A to B and hope that that works. So let's get into the play right here. It looks like it is not man coverage. I was completely wrong. And that the fact that it is, that's fine. I'm just going to scramble now. And I fumbled it. That is not good. Oh, man. Okay. We didn't get the ball, but he didn't get down in time. But still, that's why you practice, because now we're back on the ball. They're running a different defense. This one looks like, again, a zone defense here, and it is. In there, was able to hit A there. I thought that it was zone. It ended up being zone, and I was able to actually figure out who I wanted to throw to. Again, I do this play a lot, so that's why I went really quickly right there. Normally, you want to definitely take your time here. And this, again, it looks like zone because they only have 2 cornerbacks on the right side of the field. And when they do that, when there's 3 people on the right side of the field, obviously that's either going to be a man coverage in a zone coverage shell, which obviously is trying to throw you off, and it also sets them up for failure because if it is a man covered shell where the right safety is playing A, well, he's going to be wide open because he's not going to be able to get there since it's about 20 yards downfield or 15 yards downfield. So you want to keep that in mind and think about that. So as of right now, I am assuming it is zone. And if it is zone, RB is going to push it up a little bit, leaving A wide open, and I always take my underneath throws, and they're blitzing on that side as well, which also allows me to get that throw off quickly, throw it right over his head, and it's just another thing that you can do to get better at the game by constantly setting up your pre-snap routine, which will in turn help you score more touchdowns, get more first downs, and win more games in college football 25. Last part of number 1 before we jump into the number 2 reason why practice mode is the best way to learn and get better at college football 25 is you're going to be running, right? So if you're not comfortable with running, this is the perfect place to do it, the perfect place, because especially if you're going up against, if it's a specific defense, then you can even set it up for that. If you do bad against blitzing or you've run up against a player that is, in your online dynasty that you just can't beat, but you know that his tendencies are he plays a double mug defense. Not that I'm playing against it right now, but as an example, well, then you can go up against that double mug defense constantly, especially against the run game. If you're like, oh, every time he does this, I can't run. I have to pass. I have to pass every time, and it's so obvious. I want to get better at running. Well, now you can go with that and practice going against the double mug defense, especially the mid blitz, and try to find effective ways on running. What plays work best for that? And just in this example here, I'm just running the ball. So here, I'm just trying to find different ways to find holes, different cutback lanes, and things like that. Especially if you're not good and comfortable with running, this is a great place to learn. Try to figure out, the kind of like the blocking, how it kind of works in this game, even though it's very inconsistent. It still is what it is, but again, I picked random plays here, and that's what I love about this. You can just step up and do it over and over again, and they're going to throw a different defense at you every single time. Sometimes you want to, what I always like to do, honestly, is double team the over the center player, because sometimes he gets blown up, and if they do it correctly, it'll work. But sometimes, for whatever reason, I don't know if it just doesn't pick it up not AI, but this wise, it doesn't show it, but it actually does it. And if it does do it, and it'll tell you if they do it, and it'll have 2 of your offensive linemen that are blocking, obviously, that defensive tackle over the center. And I love that because sometimes when they get blown up, like right there, like that could have really hurt the play there if number 7 really got there early because he blew right through. But again, that's just something that I recommend here. You get better at this just over and over and over again, especially if you're using a specific team that you're using in a offline dynasty or a regular online dynasty. So for the next one, it's going to be setting random plays. Now, this is something I just found out about. I'm honestly pretty bummed that it took me this long to even find this. I didn't even know that it was a thing. But if you look at the bottom of the screen, there's a button and it says random play. If you click the left stick, it'll automatically select a random play for you every single time. So like I was just mentioning in the previous tip or reason why, practice mode will help you get better, better at college football 25. I kept saying, oh, I picked a random play. This is how you do it. It's very, very simple. All you have to do, especially on the defense, click again the left stick, random play, and they'll select random plays for you. Now, with this, the reason why I like doing this is, 1, you're not seeing what the defense is, so you're not just obviously going up against a specific defense. It gives you a chance to kind of practice that as well, try to read the defense. That's huge. On top of that, if you're not comfortable with a specific playbook, this will definitely get you more comfortable with it, giving you random plays that you might not really pick, just to kind of throw things at you, especially against defenses that you're not sure how they're going to work, how they're going to play. So So you definitely can utilize this to your advantage. And I really like this because what I would used to do is just scroll with my eyes closed and just pick a random play and then hope that I don't pick it up after 1 or 2 times, because if I did, then I'd have to repick it. But now that I found out that you have a random play and you can do that, it makes it so much more convenient to just throw, okay, what are they doing here? It looks like the M player right there on the right side outside of the defensive end, he is going to blitz. That's what I'm thinking right now, but he can easily drop back. Actually, now thinking about it, it looks like a double mug defense. And with him, the M, I think he's a linebacker, the right linebacker, and then you have the left linebacker who's over the center on the left side. Both of them being on the outside, one thing that I've realized in this game is when they are separated, obviously there's a lot of receivers or players running routes to the one side of the field. If they are separated and not both in the middle, it's an automatic guarantee that they are playing zone coverage. So you should probably see them back up here. So I'm going to assume that they are zone coverage, meaning that I am probably going to wait, let RB and A clear out some space and hit B. So potentially what I'm going to do here is watch A for a little bit. If he's not open, just hit B underneath, and he should be open. So let's see here. Yep, they both drop back. Gonna hit B. He was kind of open, not really, but again, that's something I just learned. As you see, playing the game so much, I can pick up some of these tendencies, like I just said about the double mug. That was obvious zone for me. I can tell that every single time. Now, here, this looks like I totally forgot that I was in random play, and now I'm doing a different play. So now this looks like it could be man coverage. So we're going to see here, since this looks like a little bit of a screen, like a motion screen, pre-snap motion. So let's, maybe not even a screen, but a pre-snap play. So I'm going to go RB and just see. I mean, I'm not really even sure what to expect with this play. Nope, he was getting guarded pretty well there. I got X across the middle of the field if I can. Nope. That's why you practice. That is why you practice. I am perfect at that because I am not a pro at this game by any means necessary. I understand some of the concepts of this game, makes it a little bit easier, but it does not mean that I am good at all. I'm an okay user. I'm getting better. I don't have as much time on my hands, but this is why you practice in practice mode, because this is how you get better. So now here's another probably the last one that I'll do with you guys. It looks like this is probably going to be zone, because of just the leverage that you're seeing with the cornerbacks. You got streaks down the field. What I'm going to do here is put the tight end on a drag route and then just go from there. So I'm probably just going to watch Y, see if he gets past that linebacker or cornerback on the left side. If he gets past him and has some space, well, then I might actually give him a throw. If not, I'm going to hit my A tight end underneath to hopefully pick up some yards here. And it is zone. And look at that. He's open right there, but can I make the throw? I can, and he caught it. So that's huge too. So again, this is huge. Random plays make it so much more fun as well to kind of figure out defenses. If you're going up against a certain team, things like that, it helps a lot. So definitely want to use this to your advantage. The next one is going to be special teams. Apparently, a lot of people didn't know that you can practice field goals in practice mode. You can. I'll show you how to do it right now, how to set it up. It's very, very simple. And not only that, you can do punting and things like that. You just go to special. You have all the different plays. You do Hail Mary, special, goal line offense, pistol, whatever formations you got. But in special, you can practice your field goals. And I know that's a big issue for a lot of people in this game. A lot of people are scared to kick field goals, whether it's up close, whether it's far away, when the meter goes crazy. There's ways to practice this in order to get better. And when you're able to feel comfortable at getting about like 35-yard line and in, that you can convert a field goal and get points, that's huge, because that gives you more confidence on offense, not to play scared and play more aggressive. So now, very simple field goal here, boom, right down the middle. Look at that. I am very used to doing this, even though it was short. I'm not used to the distance, I'm not used to the field goal kicker himself. But as you see there, I'm pretty decent at figuring out when I'm going to use that and when I'm going to actually, hit A for Xbox, X for PlayStation, to convert the field goal. For me, I usually try to time it a few times in my head where when it hits red, I kind of fake it with my controller. Like I go, okay, red, boom, red, boom, red, boom, red, boom. And that's when I kind of build some kind of a rhythm in my head on when I'm supposed to hold A in order to start the field goal, as I'll try it here. A little off center there, but should go if it's deep, if it's far enough, which looks like it wasn't there. But again, that's why you're practicing. Right down the middle, that one should be perfect. Must not have that good of a leg. Regardless, that is one thing that you can practice on, which is huge, especially because I'll show you right here. We're going to do the field goal again, but the difference here is I'm going to move this up into the side some, because there is a way to make your field goal a little bit easier than normal. And I'll show you here. You just respot the ball. I'll respot it to, let's say, the 10-yard line, and on the right hash. Right or left doesn't really matter, but these ones are very difficult and they give a lot of people problems. Right here, it's very difficult. But if you tap, let me see, yep. If you tap down on the D-pad there, now you have a better angle at it. So the arrow makes it a little bit easier to angle. If you go this way, you could see it, but it's just not as easy. But now when you angle it down, oh, just angle it right there. Boom. Easy. Right down the middle. Simple. Some things you can easily pick up. Obviously, you might have been able to pick that up with practice, but if you didn't know that, you can change the angle. And by doing that, it makes things so much easier when you're just trying to, make field goals from an awkward angle. 2 for 2, no issues there. And that's just one thing. Obviously, got to make sure to go back to the original angle, but that's one thing that you can do. On top of that, obviously, you can do punting, which is something that is very rare in this game, so you can go for it. I'm not really even going to explain it really with you, but you can practice punting if you really want to. Here, I'm just gonna pick a random play just so I can show you the other thing that I'm gonna show you, which is practice type. You can go to kickoff. You can also work on your kickoff skills. So if you're getting burned constantly, just not able to hold your opponent down, within the 15, 20, or 25-yard line, no matter what you do, it just seems like they always get past their 25-yard line and your kick game is always atrocious. Practice it. Practice it on the highest difficulty, and then from there, you're able to gain confidence on what works and what not. Now, I'm going to try to show you what works for me. I tried to do a video like this a few months ago, but it wasn't working for me for whatever reason in practice mode. But let's see if it is here. So what I like to do is I like to kick it down to the right side, left side, doesn't really matter. For me, I kick it always to the far left corner. As far as this thing can go to the left, you move your stick all the way to the left, and then you kick as deep as you can before it goes red. Now, what I like to do is no leg. What I like to do is take my outside guy and move him to the outside and loop him to the outside. Why? Well, because that I'll show you. Let me just show you. Let me do it one more time. I did not realize how bad of a leg this guy has. Oh my goodness. Maybe that's why he's got arm sleeves on. Okay, so I take my outside dude, I loop him all the way around, and then loop another guy inside. Why do I do that? I try to cut off some lanes to make it difficult for them to break it outside. If you've played this game a bunch, you know that when playing it, you have a lot of players that what they try to do is they try to catch the ball, let's say right here, obviously. They're going to catch the ball. They run here slowly, let the blocks form on the right side here, and then they try to break it outside, right? But if I have this guy run to the outside, and he tries to do that, even though, let's see if I get this a little better. There you go. Now, if he's able to do that, he tries to break it outside with 87. That guy's coming from the outside. He's going to force him back inside, which makes it difficult for him to break it outside. I get to stop inside the 20-yard line. Everybody wins. Now, really quickly, I'm going to see if I can change my kicker, because this is kind of messing up the whole video because he does not have any power at all. Let's see here. Do I have anyone else that has better kicking skills? Let's see here. He has 91 kicking power? Oh, wait, he must not be the kickoff starter. He's not. The 72 overall, does that make sense? 74, no wonder. Okay. Let's see if that switches after this. Okay. Because that changes things a lot. Well, not really, not crazy amount, but you're not getting anything here. But still, you want to loop him outside, loop the other guy inside. So look, he's got nowhere to go. You're containing him. They can't get outside. They make it difficult to break that tackle outside. Okay, now I got my kicker here. Got to go all the way to the left and go deep as far as possible. And let's see just how much farther he kicks it. Perfect. Cool. So he gets it out there, loop my guy to the outside, loop him to the inside. And now you're able to stop him every single time by the 20-yard line. If you watch any of my other Florida Dynasty videos or my Fresno State ones, you'll be able to see that I can usually get them within the 15 to 13-yard line depending on the play, but more often than not, they rarely get to the 20-yard line. So that's another thing, special teams. And again, you can do this if you flip it as well, where you're able to see, okay, now if you're struggling on returning kicks, you can do that as well. I don't want to flip it yet, but you could easily do that and practice returning kicks, and that will gain confidence with that as well, trying to find holes to run through, where the lanes are going to be, and things like that. So you definitely want to keep in mind and use the special teams aspect of practice mode to your advantage. The next one is going to be practicing and scheming against your online dynasties opponents that are in year 1. So obviously, when you're in your online dynasties, when you're in year 2, year 3, year 4, you can't really use this one. But if you're in year 1, you can always use this and go up against who you're going to be going against. You can set practice mode up who you're playing against. If you're Iowa State, you could set them up against Missouri if you're going up against them that week, because those are the same exact rosters that you're going up against in that year 1. And why I love doing this is because, again, in my online dynasties that I've competed in this year, almost all of them, every single game that I played, user, I have streamed every single game. Not that it's amazing or anything like that, but I just like streaming it. I would like other people to watch it as well. And if they don't, it's okay. So I always recommend other people streaming as well so I can watch them as well. I enjoy watching other users playing, especially against that are in my leagues that I'm in, but at the same time, I like to scout them as well. I like to pick up their tendencies. I like to, see what they're good at, what they like running. Oh, they like to run a lot of jet sweeps, and I'm playing them this week. Well, I'm going to figure out how to stop jet sweeps. I'm going to figure out the best way to stop that offense. If that's the only thing that they're on and they're codependent on that, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to find a way. Oh, they like to go deep with a certain receiver. I'm going to try to stop that. Oh, the player that I'm going against, he only runs Tampa 2 like 9 times out of 10. Well, I'm going to find plays that beat Tampa 2 defense. And obviously with zone, it's a little bit different, but one of the things that obviously beats the Tampa 2 zone or cover 2 zone is going to be corner routes. So here is just an example. I'm going to be throwing them to Noel, and I'm just going to watch and see how the tendencies are by the defense when they're in Tampa 2. I'm running this play over and over again. I know what defense I'm going up against, and I know what offense I'm going against. So just keep that in mind. Got it right here. Boom. Wide open there. Didn't have to throw a high ball, but I did. And that's one thing. You can scheme against your players that you're going up against if you... Oh, what a terrible throw. If you know what to expect, if you know their tendencies, you could set that up and see how to stop it. What audibles that you might need to do on defense in order to stop it, if it comes to that, if you know what they're running on offense and things like that. It's one of the things that has helped me dominate the online dynasties that I've been a part of. And again, I'm not amazing at this game, but it does help give me an advantage, and it will help you get an advantage as well. If you can pick up the tendencies of your players, practice against that, especially, like I said, in year 1 only, because year 2, you're not going to have the same rosters. It might be similar, so keep that in mind. But with the year 1 online dynasties, go up in practice mode against your teams that you're going up against, especially if you know what their tendencies are and what they like to do. And if it's something that you're not good at, it's always good to practice and see how to stop that, because then you throw them out of the loop. What did Mike Tyson say? Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Well, if you're going up against somebody who runs up against Tampa 2 and you're just dotting him up, you can't dot someone up if your quarterback can't throw good passes, or your user can't pass in general, and he's going Tampa 2, and you're just like, oh, well, really? You get my point. This is annoying. Okay, one more time. Come on now. I might have to wait an extra second. There we go. Oh, wow, you came out what is going on? Okay, regardless, the point of the matter is, if you know what they're doing and they're really good at it, but you found a way to stop it that maybe no one else has, you're basically punching them in the face, and they're not sure how to react now. Now they are in panic mode, and you have the advantage, a huge advantage, because now they're freaking out. Maybe like, I didn't have a backup plan. I assumed that was going to work. That's worked against everybody so far. And now you have that advantage, and now you can either keep doing that or throw them off. Do it sometimes and not every time. Make them guess. I know one time in my online dynasty, I gave up about like 45 points. I should have lost one of my games, but I ended up barely squeaking past it. It went by a lucky interception at the end of the game, like 45-48. A week later, I played the same player in our SEC championship game. And the issue that was happening in that game was I was getting beat deep all game long. He was just running fades, and I could not stop it to save my life. I don't know what the issue was. Just kidding. I knew what the issue was. Not during the game. I had no idea what it was, but what I found out was I looked through my roster. I'm like, what's going on? My speed. His receivers weren't amazing, like 94 to 96 speed, and my safety, my strong safety, was an 86 speed. That was what I tried during the game, in game, tried to get back there no matter what. I knew what he was doing. I saw the play, I saw the formation, and I can pick up those tendencies during game as well. And I would go back there, but I just would get beat deep no matter what. Even if I had my player 30 yards back, he would just get beat deep, and there's nothing I could do about it. So what I ended up doing that whole next day and a half, 2 days, I would be in practice mode, throwing these same exact plays, and I would figure out what audibles to use on defense to put my safeties in the right spots. And on top of that, I also substituted my 91 overall strong safety that was an 86 speed with a 77 93 speed safety. And what I did that whole second game, the SEC championship game that I rematched him, completely different story. I think it was 45-6. It was because he only went deep. He figured after that first game, oh, dude, I can just beat him deep all day, so I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just going to do it again the next time. Well, I schemed completely against him, and I kept telling myself, I had to ground myself, saying, hey, it's difficult. I know you really want to blitz. I know you want to go cover zero and blitz because that's a lot of fun, but let him beat you deep. Sorry, let him beat you underneath all game. And so every single time he came in formation, I would throw my safeties deep, and then I'd have them all playing safe, not get beat deep, and change that all up. And there was nothing to do. He threw like 4 or 5 picks because he was just freaking out and just dumping it and trying to go deep. And that worked because he didn't have a backup plan. I schemed for that specifically, and there was nothing he can do. He couldn't stop my offense, couldn't stop my defense, and I just dominated. And I kind of felt bad because he wasn't changing it, and I'm not the kind of person that likes running up the score, but it is what it is. And that's one of the advantages to using practice mode for your online dynasty is if you know those tendencies, again, you can pick those up and use those to your advantage to win games in your online dynasties and make yourself better. Because, I mean, that's ultimately what college football teams do, NFL teams do, high school teams do. They see what the tendencies are of the teams they're playing, and they practice to stop those schemes. That's all you got to do. And it's not easy, but obviously if you do that, you're going to throw off your opponent enough to hopefully that you put him in panic mode, and then you can take more advantage of that. Last but certainly not least reason why using practice mode helps you dominate and get better at College Football 25 the best is simple. Playing defense. I know that's a big issue for a lot of people. So when I played this game to start, I didn't play defense. I played maybe a game or two defense. I was terrible at it. I was absolutely horrid at it. My user skills were non-existent. I barely played any of the Maddens leading up into this game, and I just had no confidence with it at all. And obviously with the pursuit angles and things like that that are already difficult in this game to begin with, I was just so bad that I just said, you know what? I'm only going to play offense. I literally had like a few dynasties that I did where I just only played offense. But when the online dynasties came up, obviously I was like, okay, I have to get somewhat used to this because you can't just play on. You can't just play offense. You have to play defense, right? In your online dynasty, especially when you're playing your user games. And so the way that I got better with it is just in practice mode. Work on tackling. To start things off here, if you're bad at tackling, you're not alone. It's difficult in this game. Main thing that I did in my year one of my online dynasties was I made sure to just tackle, just press X. That's all I did. Another thing that I did was, oops, that's not the right thing. Was it settings? I went to settings. Yes, this should be this. You go to settings, and then you go down to defensive heat seeker assist. Always want to have this on every single time. The reason why it says user controlled defenders are steered toward the ball carrier when attempting to run or dive at them, essentially pressing X or square on PlayStation, making a tackle, right? So if this is off, then your players, if they're not automatically angled towards the player that you're trying to dive at, they're going to dive the wrong way. Otherwise, with this on, they're going to dive towards them to give you a chance at stopping them or at least making some kind of contact with them. And now people think this only goes up to 100%. This goes up to 200%. And I have it on 200% all the way across. Again, this is only for diving. This isn't going to help you for hit sticks or anything like that. So also keep that with a grain of salt. But this will drastically help if you have this off and you've been playing with it off. You'll see a huge difference if you turn this on to 200%. I'm telling you that right now. Again, that's just by tackling and not by using the hit stick. On top of that, another thing that I would always do in my first season of my online dynasty, the first online dynasty that I ever played, I would go to coach adjustments during every single game and make sure that I have on my tackling to conservative. The reason why is I didn't care about hit sticks. I wanted to make tackles. I know making tackles in this game was so difficult. And if it is difficult for you, I recommend turning on tackling to conservative as well. I would rather make sure that the player is tackled than them breaking a tackle and taking it for a touchdown. It's that easy. You don't need to worry about a hit stick, because hit sticks, they look cool, they look awesome. You might get a few fumbles now and then, but you don't get too many of them unless there's a huge overall gap between the two players you're going against. And obviously with conservative, the pro is AI defenders will tackle conservatively. That means that they will try to wrap up rather than going for the strip. Obviously, the con is increasing chances of allowing yards after contact, which is fine, in my opinion, at least for me when I was struggling on defense, because I would rather you can gain a yard or two extra on me if I can just make sure I take you down there. Otherwise, if you put it on aggressive, AI defenders will attempt to hit stick tackles for a higher fumble chance. It's not like 5% to like 100%. It maybe bumps that up at like 15, 20% at the most. But even that, you're going from maybe like 0% to like 20%. So you're not really even bumping it up too much. Let me know in the comments how wrong I am on that, but that's just my assumption on it. The con is a higher chance of broken tackles and fake outs, which is terrible. You don't want that. That means they're going to not get a few yards or always fall forward against you. They're going to get 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 yards more, depending if there's no one there to stop them. So I always put this on conservative. Again, I don't now. I'm on balance now, where, it's kind of standard game conditions apply, whatever. But yeah, that's one thing that I would recommend as well. So let's see here. I'm just going to pick a random play. It'll probably cover Tampa 2. So I'm going to do this. And then what I'd like to do here as well, especially if you're not a good user, you're not comfortable with usering, if you can gain confidence in being a user linebacker, that will change your life with this game. You're going to scare the opponents you're playing up against. You're not going to have any confidence throwing over the middle, and you're going to take the middle of the field away. And that's huge. So what I would do here is click the gun formation, and then again, click left stick for a random play in this formation, which is essentially going to be a pass play. Do they even have any runs? They do. They have one QB draw. Of course they do. I was hoping it'd all be passes, but regardless, this is where you just practice. So again, set this up here where you can practice this, and this is absolutely huge and absolutely vital, because now you can practice usering down the middle of the field. It's a game changer. It is a game changer. Now that I'm so comfortable with it, I'm here. Oh, I'm there. I'm trying to lay him out right there. Set yourself up for success. Get comfortable with it, because even though it is CPU, you practice. They're using different plays, right, every single time, so it's not the same play. It's going to be the same formation, at least in this situation. Oh, tight end, nope. Oh, changed me over here. Get a nice little pick. I'll just get down for the video. But again, practice on defense. This will win you championships. I'm telling you. You take away that middle of the field. Oh, he's coming over here. He's going over the middle. That's fine. I stayed in my area. Again, when you're usering, you want to make sure you're staying in your area. You want to say you're in your zone. You do not want to abandon this area. You abandon this area and someone ends up running their route in this area, well, then they're going to be wide open and you're going to set yourself up for failure. So you got to stay in the zone that you are given. So again, it shows you right here where it is. Boom, able to make the tackle. And I'm much better at it now than I ever have been, just because of simple practice. It's so easy. Oh, here's the quarterback run, and that was actually somewhat more successful than I expected. But that is it, guys. Again, this video is just about why practice mode is so essential and why it is the best way to learn and get better in college football 25. If you guys did make it to the end of this video, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I know a lot of you guys don't subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it if you did. And also, don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss another Tips with Tees in college football 25. Thanks, guys. I'm out. Peace.